You're just too distracting for our patients. Those words echoed in Nurse Emily Carter's ears as she stood in the staff lounge of St. Mary's Hospital in Dallas, Texas, on May 28th, 2025, at 27. Emily was recognized not only for her exceptional nursing skills, but also for her striking appearance, tall, with flowing auburn hair and a naturally curvy figure that turned heads. But it wasn't her professionalism or dedication that was being questioned. It was her looks. The hospital administration summoned her for a meeting that morning. The human resources manager, avoiding eye contact, handed her a termination letter citing inappropriate attire and claiming she caused discomfort among patients and staff. Emily was stunned. She wore the same standard-issue medical scrubs as everyone else. Her only so-called offense was her natural physique. Humiliated and heartbroken, Emily gathered her belongings and left the hospital, where she had devoted her heart to caring for others. She had always believed that her work would speak for itself, that her compassion and competence would suffice. But now, she was being punished for something entirely beyond her control. That evening, she called her older brother, Captain James Carter, an officer in the United States Army recently returned from overseas deployment. She hesitated to tell him, not wanting to burden him with her troubles. Yet, James sensed something was wrong. "Emily, what happened?" he asked gently. Through tears, she recounted the day's events. James listened silently, his jaw tightening with each word. When she finished, there was a long pause. "So they fired you because of how you look," he said, disbelief and anger rising in his voice. "They said I was a distraction," Emily whispered. The next morning, James put on his full-dress uniform and drove directly to St. Mary's Hospital. He walked through the front doors with purpose, his medals gleaming, his posture rigid. Staff and patients turned to look, some recognizing him from local news stories about his military service. He approached the front desk calmly but with resolve. "I need to speak with the hospital administrator," he stated. Within minutes, he was led to a conference room where both the human resources manager and hospital administrator waited. Visibly uneasy, Captain Carter, "How can we assist you today?" the administrator asked cautiously. James stood firm. "I'm here regarding my sister, Nurse Emily Carter. I understand she was terminated because of her appearance." The human resources manager shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Captain, we have policies to maintain a professional environment." James raised his voice slightly, not out of anger, but with authority. "Professionalism. Emily has worked double shifts, sat with grieving families, and saved more lives than I can count. She's been a beacon in this hospital. And now you're telling me she's unfit to work here because of her body?" The room fell silent. In the United States Army, we do not judge our personnel based on appearance. We judge them on their actions, discipline, and ability to lead. And I will not stand by silently while a medical institution reduces my sister to a distraction. He stepped closer. "I will take this public. I will speak to the media, legal advocates, anyone who needs to hear this. Because what happened to her, what you allowed to happen, isn't just wrong, it's disgraceful." True to his word, James took to social media that same afternoon. He posted a photo of Emily in her nursing scrubs, smiling warmly, along with a heartfelt caption describing what had transpired. Within hours, the story exploded online. The headline read, "Nurse fired for being too attractive. Her Army brother's response sparks outrage." The story quickly went viral. Comments flooded in from around the world. Thousands of nurses shared similar experiences, being told to cover up, wear baggier clothes, or tone down their femininity. Advocacy groups for women's rights and workplace equality began resharing the post. National news outlets picked up the story. Interviews with Emily and James aired on television, highlighting her personal injustice and exposing the widespread issue of appearance-based discrimination in healthcare. under mounting public pressure. St. Mary's Hospital issued a formal apology. They pledged to review and revise their internal conduct policies and to retrain staff. But the damage was already done. The public had chosen a side, and they chose Emily, amid the wave of support. Emily received a call from the Houston Wellness Medical Center, a top-rated inclusive facility that had seen her story. They offered her a position immediately, recognizing her professionalism, compassion, and resilience under pressure. On her first day, she was welcomed with respect, warmth, and something she hadn't felt in weeks, genuine appreciation. No one looked her up and down. No one whispered behind her back. She was not a distraction. She was exactly where she belonged. As Emily walked through the halls of her new hospital, her heart felt lighter. She had endured humiliation and injustice, but emerged stronger, more confident, and no longer alone. Thanks to her brother's courage and the power of public advocacy, her story ignited a national conversation. Now, countless women could walk into work knowing they would be seen, not for how they looked, but for who they truly were. In a world quick to reduce women to appearances, let us remember that character, compassion, and courage will always overshadow prejudice. Never let anyone shame you for simply being yourself. Emily didn't fight for revenge. She stood for respect. And now, the world stands with her. Before we conclude, share with us in the comments where you're watching from. If this story resonated with you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and leave a comment down below.